Hey everybody, Jeff here. Welcome back to my channel, to my new segment, which I still don't have a freaking name for it yet. But the fact of the matter is that I'm going to be talking with other pet professionals about an assortment of topics, whether it's dog training, dog care, dog health, dog nutrition, dog rescue, dog whatever, to kind of fall in line with the rest of my channel. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about Reiki. And my guest today is Cora Baker, and Cora is a Reiki practitioner, a dog walker, a dog trainer, a dog care extraordinaire. How you doing, Cora? Thanks for joining.
Good, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about who the hell you are.
All right. Well, I do holistic pet care. So I do a little bit of everything, as you know, a little nutrition, a lot of behavioral stuff. But I look at it from both the spiritual side and also the more of the scientific side. So, I read a lot of books, but I also go to a lot of, meditation classes. So I think it's important to have a mix of both. This is Oliver, by the way. And it all kind of got started with him, actually, because he's a rescue, and he had a pretty hard life before and was really abused, and regular training classes just weren't doing it for him. So I was trying to figure out what to do and how to make his life better.
Excellent. Well, tell us a little about you. What do you do? What services do you provide, and where do you provide them?
Well, I'm in Long Beach, California, so I stem out of Long Beach, but I go a little bit further, if needed. And typically, I help people out with their everyday life type of stuff. So I specialize in dogs who need medical care at home, like diabetic dogs who need shots, who maybe their parents aren't comfortable with it or they don't know how to do it. It's pretty overwhelming for them getting that information. So I help them do the injections, and I help people create a calming routine for their dogs and for their family so that they can do what they got to do but feel good about it. And that often also helps the dog heal as well. So that's the majority of what I do. So, but that also goes into, their diet and what they're eating, what's the best diet for their situation. And if they have any behavioral quirks because of their medical issues, like I have a dog with epilepsy who lashes out sometimes and his threshold for stimulation is really low. So doing some training for him with that to figure out what's best for him, what kind of training to do. And then also I do Reiki and relaxation massage and a little sound healing, so that helps with prevention and maintaining health, and then also healing. It's a big part of healing.
Okay, excellent, excellent, very cool. And for people watching or joining in for the first time, and I'm going to drop Cora's information right here, and I'll make sure that I put Cora's contact info down in the description as well. So especially if you're in the Long Beach, California area, you could certainly look her up. So we'll jump right in. So more and more people are hearing about Reiki. Some people think it's like this ancient medicinal, spiritual seance type of thing. And I tell people all the time, look, Reiki, it's energy healing, right? And whether it's laying hands on a person or animal and transferring that energy from one being to another. Talk a little bit about Reiki. What is it? What benefits does it provide? Are there any side effects or risks?
So Reiki to me, and I think everybody learns a little bit different, but they gave it a name not too long ago in Japan, but it's been around forever. It's always around. It's just the energy the energy from the universe. So I call it universal life force energy. And what I do when I do Reiki is I just, I tap into that and I intentionally channel it to a specific spot or specific person or location or whatever. And it's even hard for me to explain.
Yeah, and that's the thing is because it's energy,
Yeah,
and that's the one thing. And Reiki practitioners understand this, that like I mentioned, I'm level 2 Reiki. Even though we're giving Reiki to someone or something else, it's not us doing it. We're like a conduit. We're just a channel of that energy to provide to the
I
person or dog.
when I was certified, my teacher said, "You are just a straw." So
That's
that's all I am. I'm a straw, and a lot of different things happen when you're doing Reiki, but it's extremely powerful. And every single time I do it, I realize, there's so much more going on behind the scenes that I can't even understand. But the thing I love about Reiki is that I don't need to understand it for it to work. It just works. And, I've seen all kinds of things with it happen. I had a dog who had a spinal degenerative disease, and she was becoming paralyzed. She couldn't walk, with her back feet anymore. And, we did a Reiki session, and next day she could walk again. And it was miraculous. I couldn't believe it. And then so we kept that up, and it took her a lot longer to lose her function. She maintained function for a lot longer than she would have otherwise. So it's really powerful and amazing, and it's great for inflammation. It's great for pain management. It's really good alongside other healing modalities, to support it and to enhance it. And it's just really good anti-stress and calming technique too.
Yeah, and I mean that's why a lot of people go for Reiki sessions as well. Just for the relaxation and meditative aspect of, where they just get to detach a little, and most people who are open to Reiki, they can feel the energy flowing. They can feel their stress being released. They can feel muscles, that might be spasming, releasing all that tension. And it's much like massage does, where massage is more hands-on, right? But people all they do experience similar effects as massage. But like you said, we're the straw, right? You know, we're just, it's like we're holding it and it's just flowing through.
It's intense. And like the one thing that blows my mind is like my hands are always freezing cold, like ice cold all the time. So whenever I'm doing Reiki, they're like on fire. And that's one thing my human clients can say, verbalize to me. The dogs not so much. The dogs, they feel it, they take it in, but the humans are like, how do you make your hands so hot? And I'm like, no.
Not me. Yeah, and it's funny because most of the Reiki I do now is on dogs, especially. Reiki is a big part of my behavior modification protocol. I do, as you know, I do daily massage on all the rescue dogs that come here. I give them Reiki, and I know, like, when I'm giving them Reiki, you could, like, a lot of times they might be a little fidgety, and sometimes I might have to put a leash on a dog, because I don't know what they're feeling, because I'm just a conduit. I'm just a conduit of the energy. And just like people who have given dogs massage, sometimes the first time you massage a dog or a cat, it feels weird to them, and they have to learn how to accept it. And once they accept it, they're like, oh, this is cool. I've found that the same happens with Reiki too, is that sometimes the dogs are a little like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, they feel that energy. They pick it up really easily. I think humans, they have a more of an egotistical block sometimes.
Sure, yeah.
But for dogs, I do mostly Reiki on dogs and cats, but yeah, it takes them a minute, and some respond to it differently than others. But I found some dogs, they lean into it. They want to lay on my hands. Some dogs, it's too intense for them for me to touch them, so I just hover above. And then they have different ways of showing me too, and they're releasing a blockage. Like some dogs will yawn when they're about to release, and I've noticed that I swallow in my throat. I get a lump in my throat when I feel a blockage, and then right before it releases, I'll swallow, and then they're yawning, and it's pretty cool. You get a really good connection with the dog every time. It's always different. And even just doing Reiki on the same dog, it's different every day and every time, and their signals might be different. But yeah, I've had a dog who was just so terrified, but her family had to leave on an emergency. But she's so terrified of strangers, she literally barked at me for an hour straight, just complete terror. And like she didn't stop, and this was 3 days I was watching her. I felt so bad because I wanted to help her, but she was so terrified. And then I just did one Reiki session, and I didn't even go anywhere near her. I just sat in the corner, with my hands out and a couple of blocks of cheese. And then as I started to let it flow, she came closer and closer, and like you don't even have to be right next to them, it just works. And she calmed down, and then after that she was like my best friend. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and I've had similar experiences where, especially, at first and obviously sometimes I'm working with problem dogs, so I get in the way sometimes because I'm a little cautious of dogs with severe behavioral problems. Like, you know, I don't want to get bit. I don't want them to overreact. So sometimes I get in the way and I'm like, Jeff, would you stop the noise in your head and just be? And like you said, sometimes I'll just open myself up, and the dog, like dogs and kids, they are so open-minded and they are so open to energy. That's what I love about animals. And I shouldn't say dogs, but animals in general, you know, because they are truly open to it. They don't have this earthly materialistic crap in front of them. Like, you know what I mean? They're truly spiritual beings. And you know, and again, if people are watching and this is new to you, I mean, you probably have heard of like chakra healing. You know, and Reiki plays a role in that, because when we're doing Reiki on a person or an animal, we will go through this, you know, all 7 chakras as you know, just as a general practice. And then if we feel through, usually through temperature changes or intuition, we may feel an area on the body where needs tending to, meaning, and not by us, but we'll feel it and we'll stop and we'll let the energy flow there a little bit. And it's funny because, like you, Cora, you mentioned the heat, right? And you know, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've also had both temperature shifts where I'm feeling the energy flowing and then I hit a cold spot.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, whatever was going on in the body, I don't know. I'm not a human X-ray machine, but you know, I have to trust that. I have to trust that change in energy, which in how I experience it is through a temperature change. So you know, whether it's a pulled muscle or some kind of tense or tight area, or maybe a cat or a dog holds tension in their back, I might feel energy shifts. So I'll stop and I'll just let energy flow there on that particular part of the body. But we also go through, you know, the 7 chakras: root chakra, sacral chakra, solar, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. I remember, yay!
Well, I can't remember all 7. I do the 3 diamonds version.
Okay. Anyway, if you guys are watching, I'll make sure I throw a quick little clip up when I edit this video of the 7 chakras. But you know, each of the chakras, they do have certain emotional and physical healing properties associated with that chakra. So, and again, it's like Cora said, we're not consciously saying, oh, okay, I have to work on the crown chakra today. No, we're letting our intuition, we're letting the energy flow, and we're letting everything happen. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's completely fair, because you can try to control it if you want, but it doesn't really matter. You're just getting in the way.
Who the
Like,
hell are we?
so, and it's, I just let it flow, and you know, it does what it does. And I get a lot of tingling and like pins and needles too, and I can feel my body pulling towards it too. So it just does what it does. Like, it has nothing to do with me.
And it's funny, and I tell, as you know, I tell my students, I also tell dog trainers, like up and coming dog trainers, like if they want to open up their career to something that is kind of against the grain when it comes to dog training and stuff, I tell them to get Reiki certified, and they look at me like I'm nuts. I've had arguments. I shouldn't say arguments because I don't argue, but people criticizing me. Oh, what the hell is Reiki? That's not dog training. That's not dog behavior. No, it's better.
It is. And you told me that, actually, I think when we first started talking, and like you could tell I was already into it, but
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
look into it more from your suggestion, and it has changed my life. And like with my own dog, I was doing, you know, you don't have to be Reiki certified to do Reiki. You know, you're already doing it every day in your life. You just don't know how to control it, is the difference. And so, you know, I was already using those ideologies with my own dog, Oliver, who was just like completely traumatized and awful when I just awful when I met him, and he was terrified of everything. And you know, we used those calming energy and that calming method to train him, because he couldn't do a training class. Like, it was just terrifying for him. So
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can't. I think I was first. I think I went through level 1 in like 2007. I'm not even sure, and Reiki 2 a short time after. And you know, nothing. I mean, like you said, it. energy's energy. Whether we're open to it or not is a whole different thing. But once I started consciously applying it to my dog training, I stopped consciously applying it to my dog training. You know what I mean? Because it's just part of me now. You know, when I'm working with an anxious dog or a fearful dog or even an aggressive dog, you know, as we're building that relationship and trust, I have to trust energy. I have, you know, and that's where a lot of textbook science dog trainers, they're just not open to it, and they basically poo-poo it. And you know, and I actually feel bad for them because some of these people are really talented and they have no idea how much more they can help dogs if they were only open, or cats or whatever, if they were only open to something that's outside the norm of how we learn about dog training and psychology and dog behavior, right? I mean,
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I just got chills when you said that because it is so powerful. It's true. It's like, and, you know, I don't have all those dog training certifications that a lot of people have, but the methods that I have found are extremely powerful. And I have worked with some very advanced cases and some extremely aggressive dogs and like really, you know, difficult behavioral cases. And it works out. And it's not because of my certifications or my knowledge base or whatever. It's because of the energy and because I give them a safe space and I communicate with them through trust and through, you know, getting down on their level and connecting with them as another being and saying like, hey, I want you to be happy. I want to be here for you. And I want to find a compromise of like, I don't just tell a dog to do something because I want them to. That's not what I'm here for, you know.
yeah.
I want to find what's best for their life. Like, not every dog needs to know every command. It's what makes sense for their life. And I think definitely using energy healing during training is like, I don't know how anyone could do it without it.
Yeah, because I mean, as you and I both know, I mean, training and handling, it's a mechanical skill. I mean, we have to be good at handling, right? We have to have certain handling skills. But when we add something to our handling skills, I mean, I don't know. I'm telling you, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. It just, I mean, it literally changed my whole approach to, and I've always believed in the spiritual connection between, and in my case, because I'm a dog trainer, so I'm working primarily with dogs. You know, I was always open to that, but it really opened me up, and it made me more intuitive to what a dog needs.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
I think that's the most important is intuitively seeing, because I think too when you're doing behavioral work and when you're working with more difficult dogs like you do a lot of times, you do need to tap in and see, you know, it's not always textbook. Like you don't know what happened to that dog a lot of times, especially in rescue. Like you don't know who hurt them or how or why. You don't know what their triggers might be, but you can see how they're physically displaying how they're feeling, and you can feel how they're feeling, you know, and you can pick up on those subtle things that they do, and then you can provide them an alternative that's going to be safe for them and more positive for them. And you know, that's exactly what I do. Like I know how to do dog training. And you know, I've been doing it for a while, and I've read a lot of books, and I've, you know, learned from you, very much from you. And through other trainers too in my area. And that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed is like just paying attention, knowing how to pay attention and read your dog or any dog you're working with, or cats, maybe cats too. Knowing how to see those subtle changes in their behavior, and you know, they're displaying everything you need to know. And like it's good to have those, it is good to have those mechanical things, but if you don't know when to use them, then that's a problem.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you know, and what I try to tell other dog trainers, because when they're just not open to it, because I mean, let's face it, I mean, Reiki's been around forever, and people who are open to spirituality or alternative healing, like they're open to this stuff. But you know, dog trainers, and you know, as a dog trainer, I know sometimes we get too caught up in stuff that we have to read in the textbook and apply to real life stuff, right? And you know, I think what I try to explain to other dog trainers is when we're talking about energy, because they're like, oh, energy's, it's crap. You need to do this, and this protocol, and this will work. Which I'm not going to disagree with. Obviously, we need to implement certain protocols, but I tell people all the time, look, Have you ever had that crazy ass dog that you were meeting your client, the dog was nuts, you took the leash and the dog just automatically started working?
Yeah.
That's energy. So if anyone's watching and you're a dog trainer, I know that's happened to you. That is energy working. You did nothing. The only thing that changed was the energy being transferred down the leash, right? And no, I don't care what scientific degree or level of doctorate someone has achieved. Everyone can identify with the dog is crazy with the owner, but not with the dog trainer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my clients ask me that too, and I have to remember to stress to them the importance of, like, your life and your stress affects them too. If you're having a bad day, your dog is that's why your dog's being crazy today. It's not because of whatever's going on with them, like picking up your energy and your stress. And yeah.
Yeah, and environment. I mean, Reiki aside, so much of a dog's environment impacts their lives. And what people think environment, they think, oh, the TV, the noise outside. No, us, we
Yeah.
are part of the environment. And if we're freaking crazy today, our dogs at best are going to be a little uneasy. You
Yeah,
know.
I can tell right away when I go, when I have my first dog of the day or something and we're about to start training and they're acting out and they're crazy. I know it's me. Like, I know we do this every day and it's like, you didn't forget how to sit. I know this is me. They're looking at extra things and freaking out like unusual. And I know I gotta adjust my attitude and give them somebody to trust in. And
Right. Yep. That's Deuce. He's got the longest tongue in the world.
oh,
um, yeah, and I I hope that at least one dog trainer sees this and seeks Reiki out. I really do. Or one pet care practitioner, because it's not just dog training, groomers, dog walkers, people who do pet sitting, any kind of animal handler. I mean, I am such a huge proponent of, I think every animal handler should pursue Reiki.
yeah, I would agree with that. There's no downside. And you mentioned earlier side effects. There are no side effects. It's pretty awesome. Like,
Yeah.
real, like, I think there's a lot to it. Like, I did some Reiki on one of my it's one of my dog clients, but his dad had pneumonia. So I was like, well, I guess I could just do Reiki for you too. So I tried it on him, and he just like knocked out immediately. He was asleep within a few seconds, and he has like sleep apnea and he snores and he never sleeps, which I didn't even realize before. But he slept the whole time, and then afterwards he's like, oh, I don't think that did anything. And the next day he's coughing up a lung and being crazy. And then he's like, I don't think it did anything. But then a few days later he's like, wow, I'm starting to feel really good. And I was like, yeah, I think his coughing was him, expelling that, and him sleeping, it didn't do nothing. It gave him the rest that he needed.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about energy flow is it flows anyway. We
Yeah.
may as well be open to it and go with it, because that's going to help, whether it's us or an animal. And the animals are easy because they're going to go with it, right? But like you said, with people, again, we tend to get in the way. And it's funny, when I've done Reiki sessions and the human is like, oh, can you do Reiki on me too? And I'm like, don't worry, you'll get some. Just being there, like, it's coming to you whether you like it or not.
It's true.
Yeah.
When I'm making on myself, all my animals come and sit on me, and like,
Yeah.
everyone's like, hey, what are you doing? There's something to it. And
Yeah, and it's fun when I talk, because I mean, me, I'm boisterous, I'm and people think Reiki and alternative healing, they have like this image of hippies in their mind, and then here comes me, this chubby, jovial dude, very animated, and I'm like, yeah, I'm Reiki.
it's great though, because it's good for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, well, before I conclude, do you have anything you want to throw out there for anyone? Any advice or anything?
Oh man, I would say best thing you can do is to slow down and connect with your dog, you know, work on your relationship with your cat. Work on your relationship and pay attention to how you're feeling and how your dog is behaving. And, you know, things like Reiki are really amazing. And if you don't live in Long Beach or wherever you're at right now, Jeff,
Southeast North Carolina.
I forgot. You know, if you're not there for our Reiki, you can find someone else and, you know, just try it and stay open because it has changed a lot of lives and it changes my life every day. And I see things I never thought were even real or possible. I talked to one of my clients, her grandmother passed away, and I was working on her dog. And, you know, the grandmother was an herbalist and I was working on the dog and I went over her kidney and she was having some health problems and the grandmother actually came to me and gave me an herbal recipe to heal her ailment and I was blown away. It took me a long time to figure that out, but the daughter, like, she knew everything. She knew what the recipe was for. She knew what it healed, and it completely applied 100% to what was going on, and it healed her. And there's just so much that we don't see, and it's just trust things and trust the energy and go with it.
Yeah, and you know, and anyone here who's on the fence, if you're a pet care practitioner in any capacity, you know, I echo Cora's sentiments. I think everyone should, you know, should definitely pursue Reiki because if you're an animal caregiver, why are we doing this, right? We got into this to help animals, so get that science stuff, which is all good. We need to have the scientific background. We need to have the psychology. We need to have our dog training certifications. We need to understand body language. All that stuff is good. I'm not saying it's not good, but if we can add something that can help an animal, right? I mean, that's why we're doing what we're doing, is to help animals. So that's my message to anyone listening. So
It's easy to get a Reiki certification. It doesn't take that long and it's not that expensive.
no,
So
not at all. And I'll throw a link down there. I think that one of them is reiki.org, but I mean, you could just Google Reiki practitioners in your zip code and, you know, you'll pull stuff up. And, you know, I can't speak for all practitioners, but generally speaking, when Reiki practitioners, they're generally very open people. It's not like you're going to get a bad one, like generally, you know, I mean, these are good people who genuinely want to help. But again, if, you know, if you have to interview some or whatever, I don't know. But again, I'll throw links down there, and I hope everyone, you know, pursues that, at least researches it a little bit if you're not familiar with Reiki.
yeah.
So, well, that's our show for tonight. Thanks for joining us, and I promise one of these days I'm going to come up with a name for this damn segment. I just don't know what the heck it is. I'll figure it out at some point. Cora, I want to thank you for joining. And again, I'm going to drop Cora's information below. If you're in, oh my God, what area?
Long Beach.
Long Beach, thank you. If you're in the Long Beach, what's that?
It's called Evergreen Paws, by the way. I don't think I said that.
Evergreen Paws. And I'm going to throw her website and her contact info. And if you're in the Long Beach area, definitely look her up. And again, once I figure out a name to the show, I'll title it. But in the meantime, thanks everybody for joining. And if you're new to my channel, take a peek around. If you like what you see and you want to stay up to date on dog care, dog training, dog health, dog nutrition, dog rescue, dog whatever, consider subscribing to my channel. Click that bell so you get notified when I upload new content. And I'll see you guys soon on my channel. Thanks for stopping by.